Good morning. Good morning. Hello, hello. It has been absolutely insane and crazy. Hola, Jane. ¿Cómo te va? So, I have this cool Pegasus here from our Stardust and Magic stamp set. And Sandy colored it the other night as, sorry, getting messages while I'm live. Sandy colored it as a black Pegasus with like a pastel mane and tail. And although that is extremely amazing and I loved watching it, I was like mesmerized. I'm going to color it my way. So we're two different takes on the same stamp set. How do y'all like that? So I'm going to pull my Copic markers over here next to me. And we're going to get started. Here's the stamp set, just so you can see it. All of you that are popping on, say hello. And if you are on YouTube watching the replay, note that we are no longer live, but please comment and click the like button and subscribe, because that would really help us out. So, buongiorno from my Italian nonna. All right, so I'm going to pull out a color blend. I like to, for some reason with the Pegasus, I really like to use my C's. I know that I generally do not do that because it is an alive thing, but I just like to, so that's what we're doing. Usually things that are alive and have a pulse, I do not color with C's, because C's are a cool tone, so it makes them feel not so alive. And let me see if I can zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm coloring better. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start with my C3. And since my stamp lines are already on there dark, I can go ahead and start coloring this as kind of like my second color. So I'm going to come in here and color around his or her jaw. And just the places where I know there would be shadow. So around the mane, the ear, and I like to think of this Pegasus as like light gray, not necessarily black or white. Sorry, I meant white. I'm super in awe of Sandy coloring this black. It is gorgeous like that. And one day, eventually, I'm going to color this Pegasus rainbow. But I just wanted to show you kind of a lighter version of it. Are you guys with me? Anybody coloring along? Paging Sandy. Okay, so again, I'm coming in here where all of the shadows would be. I'm using my C3 marker. I like making this horse look super muscular. I'm just using soft brush strokes and shading in that back leg. Hi, Linda. Thanks for joining me. You're working? Ew. Nobody likes work, Jean. Of course, I work pretty much all day, every day, so there's that. So I'm adding lots of shadow because without shadow, there is no light. So it seems like I'm putting in quite a bit of shadow, but notice the last color in my color blend is my colorless blender. So, wow, say that 10 times fast. So we're gonna wash a lot of this out as well. Okay. And then I'm gonna add just a little indentation here behind his nose for some shape on his face. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna do with the C3. Now I'm gonna come in with my C2. And we're gonna extend the shadow just a bit. Don't forget his ears. Under his jaw. And since we already did the hard part of finding where all of the shadows are, it won't be quite as difficult. You guys aren't very talkative today. Is it because it's a Monday? Does everybody have a case of the Mondays? I sure do. He's got kind of knobby little knees here. Okay, so you can see this is starting to come together. Oh, yay! Rebecca, that's so exciting. Did you get all of your fun stuff? Oh, it's a rival. Oh, I thought you said it arrived. I need to read closer. Well, then I can't wait to see pictures of all the fun things that you got, even though I packed the box so I know what's in it. It makes me so happy when people get crafty haul boxes or do unboxing videos or all of that stuff. I just love that stuff. I eat it up for real. We need to make a scene with the Kraken. I've made a couple of scenes with the Kraken. I really like him. He's very fun. So I'm going to come up into his wing now with this color. I didn't do it previously because this wing is in front. So I'm just kind of defining the feathers. And the wing is definitely going to get the glitter treatment, so it's going to have lots of glitter on it. Okay, so now we want to make his leg look round, so we're going to come around the front part of it with this lighter color, ever so slightly. Same down here. And we're going to start blending all of this out with our next color. Okay, so my next color is CO. And instead of pulling all of the color back out like I have been doing, oops, I forgot his back wing entirely. Oh my goodness. I'm going to start pushing all of this color back towards the shadow. The reason being is I want to leave that highlight to be white. And so I want all of this to go back towards the shadow, leaving that highlight white. So I'm taking my marker, and if I'm coloring this way, I'm pushing that shadow back towards itself. And if I'm coloring this way, I'm pulling that shadow down. There's somebody messaging me. Okay, his back leg. Make sure we color in this entire leg that's back here in the shadow. Define his muscles. All right. Oops, and I forgot his ears too. I'm all over the place today. Okay, so now before I go in with my colorless blender, I'm going to go back and fix this wing since I forgot it entirely. And this wing I'm going to start with a darker color because it's in the back. So I really want to give it that shadow. I'm so popular. No, I just sold a bunch of my Heartfelt Creations stuff. So that lady was thanking me for sending her her tracking number. Okay, now we're caught up. So then I take my colorless blender and I'm going to blend this out so that it's nice and smooth. Now it's going to turn really dark to begin with because I'm super hydrating the paper. But then as soon as that alcohol evaporates, it'll be nice and light. So you see how it kind of turns a little bit ivory colored and it looks really dark. In a second there, that'll get really light. So at first it'll feel like you've ruined your picture. You haven't, I promise. The whole point of doing this is so we're pushing that shadow back into the shadow area and making this horse a much lighter color. This is also how you color white. You just don't use quite so much of the shadow color. Okay, now onto his back. I kind of jump around so that I'm not super saturating all of the paper in one spot and making it bleed. See, now if you look up here, it's nice and light until I wet it again. Okay, so now we have our super light gray horse. It's going to look a little bit silly until we get the mane and tail done, and then I'm also going to color a background around it. So when you color a background, it takes care of some of those darker lines. All right, there we go. I sold a bunch. I only have like 3 of them left, Jane, if you're interested in them. But I sold a bunch of them, number one, because Sweet Sentiment's coming out with its own 3D flowers. So I really don't have time to play with the other ones anymore. And I need to downsize in my craft room. I still love Heartfelt. I still love them, don't get me wrong. But I need to downsize and make room in my craft room. Otherwise, it's all gonna fall in on me. Okay, so I am choosing colors for a rainbow. Gosh, I don't know what I want to do. Okay. Here is my rainbow mane and tail. So that's why I couldn't use my little color blend thing, because it does not encompass all of these. So we're going to start with our R89. And we're gonna rainbow the sky all the way down. So since the sun is highlighted, it would hit right here. We're gonna start back here. And I'll probably be adding a few colors here and there to this rainbow. I already know I'm gonna add a color to this. I am really happy to hear how quickly they have sold. Last night was a little bit intense. I was already tired from dealing with what my body has been dealing with, and it all just kind of exploded at once. So I'm very blessed, but at the same time, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't handle this right now. So I didn't sleep very much last night. I tried to, but okay. So then I'm gonna add R08. Red hair. Yay! Okay, so now we're going to go orange. Sorry, I was reading the comments there. I thought I had missed something. I did not. So you kind of just try to find natural stopping points in the mane and tail to separate your colors. So to me, this natural stopping point is right here. And I'm using the second color of my orange blend to be the darkest color of my yellow blend. Being all recycling like that. Oh yeah? So this is the dark color in my yellow. So I'm going to come in with a lighter yellow, which is Y11. This is probably my most used yellow. And then we're going to do green. And I think I'm just going to color all of this green, the rest of this green, because I'm going to do my teal, purple, and pink at the bottom. I just made a command decision there. Did you see that? Anybody have any good plans for the week? Anybody got anything fun going on? Okay, so now I'm going to move into my teal. Sorry guys, I get all quiet when I concentrate. This is what happens when nobody's talking, then I don't talk. See what happens? Okay. This is BG13. And you're concentrating on me coloring too. Excuses, excuses, Nona. Okay. Then I'm gonna go to my violet. So this is V17. And I'm just gonna come into the shadows. Okay. Then V15. Seriously want rainbow hair like this, for real. And I'm bringing this pink all the way through the center where the highlight would be. And then we're gonna marry it with the other color of pink. So I'm going all the way into that teal. And then I'm gonna take my lightest teal, which was that BG11, and I'm gonna bring it up into that purple. Okay, then I'm gonna use RV66 as my first pink, and I'm gonna come down this direction. And then RV55. To start closing that gap. And then I like to use RV52. Again, pulling it into that purple. And now we have a rainbow Pegasus. How do you like that? Good morning, Mama. You're just in time. We're gonna start doing a background. Okay, so I'm gonna recycle this RV52, and I'm gonna put it inside the Pegasus's ears and in his mouth. I like to always give him golden hooves. I don't know why, but I do. So I'm gonna start with my Y28. You guys can probably tell that I've colored this Pegasus a number of times. Y26. And then since I already have it out here, I will just use Y11. A lot of the times I'll use Y21 for this. But since I'm going to use a buttload of markers today. All right. Now, since my Pegasus looks super creepy because he doesn't have eyes, I am going to use a true blue for his eyes. So I'm going to start with B24 and color the bottom part. And then I'm going to go to B21 to color the top part. And then just so it doesn't creep us out staring at us blankly. I think so, Mom. I know Barry does. I don't know about Evan. And I'm also going to trace his eye because I feel like that adds to it. Okay. And then I'm going to take my white gel pen, make sure it's working. And now it doesn't look quite so creepy to me. Although I did trace one eye and not the other, so I do kind of need to trace this one. There we go. That's better. Okay, so now we are going to make a background. And I think that this is going to be super fun. So Sandy made her Pegasus like in the clouds, like riding above a storm because it was a dark horse. So since I have a rainbow horse, this one's going to be a little more fairy princess style. So I'm going to put some rolling hills in the background. This is my E41. You guys know I really like to start sketching with my E41. And then I might draw some mountains on top of that. And then I'm going to draw like a little stream off the side here. And then maybe like a little forest down here. There'll be some clouds and stuff up here. Just kind of laying my foundation for what I'm going to do. Okay? All right, so first things first is I'm gonna start coloring this little river here. So I like using my B45. So I'm gonna use B45. And we're gonna add some texture to the water. Okay. And then I have my B21 hanging out here, so I'm going to use that. Okay. Just a simple little river. You see that I'm just like kind of scratching it in. Nothing too major here. And I'm going to grab my B41 and just kind of fill that in. Just the idea. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want the idea that there's water there, okay? All right. So then I'm going to fill this in with a super light green, and I generally like to use like G40 or G43. So I'm going to start with my G40, and I'm going to fill this all in with light green so I can color a little forest down here, and then color the rolling hills afterwards. I love seeing two artists take on the same stamp set. Not that I'm an artist, but it just, that's why I love having a stamp company, honestly, is so that when people buy the same stamp set and then post photos of their cards, I love seeing like the different uses, seeing what people make out of that stamp set and how different people's vision is and all of the different and new ideas. So please, please, please use your stamp sets and post your pictures of your cards, because that makes us happy. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys are being so quiet. It's like crickets out there. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Okay. So I've just grabbed like a fistful of browns, darks and lights. And the closer something is to us, the darker it's going to be. The further away, the lighter it's going to be. So we're going to start by drawing this little forest here. Nothing like overly spectacular, just a couple of little trees. Am I missing comments? No? I'm just afraid my comment thing isn't working, like you guys are talking and I'm not replying because Facebook has decided to be mean yet again and not let me see comments. Okay, so that's my darkest marker. Then I have my E25, and I'm gonna mix some of these in. Listening to the brush strokes. Okay then. Thank you for commenting so I could see if it actually works. Okay. And then I have E71. Actually, E55 is darker. kind of a toss-up. And then as the trees go further back, they're going to get a little bit smaller too. That little tree was a hot mess. But it does not really matter because they're going to be covered in leaves. Right now it kind of looks like a cornfield. Now you have to put everything away. Grocery shopping on a Monday. Ew. Barry's home from work today, Mom. Just FYI. Okay. And then I have E70. And these start looking less and less like trees. But that's okay, because now we're going to come in and we're going to fill in the little leaves and stuff. So there's a couple of things. There's a couple of schools of thought. I think I'm going to actually do the hills first, and then we're going to fill in the trees because we're going to use a lot of the same greens. So we're going to kind of do them simultaneously. I hate to say like first and second because they're kind of going to go in tandem. But burning time. He went to Reno this last weekend with his buddies. And so he thought that after driving home, he would be super tired. And he didn't have any polygraphs scheduled for today. So kind of burning time, but also sort of being responsible because it's really hard to do polygraphs when you're tired. So right. I'm going to come down here with this one. My marker's getting really juicy. Okay. And then I'm going to come down here into these trees, and I'm just going to use my nib like a stamp. Don't push too hard on your nib. And I'm just going to stay in these darker trees in the front. And kind of start to create a canopy in those trees. Okay, so that was 4-6. This is when I start pulling out my hex chart and making sure that my greens graduate into being lighter and lighter. So the 4-6 is right here, G4-6. So I'm going to go YG63. This is pea green. The last one was mistletoe. Hi, pal. Long time no see. What you doing today? You gotta talk to me, Houston. Everybody in this live is being super quiet. Okay. And then I'm gonna come in again and start moving backwards. Okay. Always working. Yes, you are. So I used my 63, so I think I'm gonna come in now. I want a couple of like true greens. So I'm gonna use YG07, I think. I want to brighten this up because this is like a rainbow Pegasus. So I want this to be like a fun, bright spring day. Like she's so excited, or he's so excited that it's finally spring, that he's out taken to the skies, being all happy, prancing around, doing his thing. Because aren't we all super happy that it's spring? I'm so over all this winter crap. Sorry if you are a winter lover, but I am so over all of this winter. I am a summer person. Even though my birthday's in the winter, I'm all about summer. Do you guys like watching us do these backgrounds? I mean, I assume so. Yeah, you love winter. My mother is always like, I want snow, I want snow. And I'm always like, knock it off. I like the first snow, and I like watching it snow outside my window. But other than that, I am like super over all of the winter. Like super duper over it. I'm just barely touching this nib to the paper. I just want to deposit color. I don't really want to do anything else. That way I'm not injuring my nib. Okay, so I used YG07. So now I think I'm going to go to my YG03. Aw, Mama, that's so sweet. Are you making Dad put away all the groceries, or are you watching while you're putting away groceries? I didn't know you liked watching me do these. to come in here behind the horse. Am I even on the screen anymore? I got all flattered by my mama, made me all discombobulated. Whenever I get a chance, both. We'll put the ice cream away first, okay? We don't want that melting. I'm seriously craving some mint chocolate chip ice cream. My mom used to buy it for us when we were kids, mint chocolate chip ice cream, because my dad likes it too. But my mom's not a really big fan of mint, so she would take one for the team. But I think all of us kids like mint chocolate chip ice cream. Okay. Now, I am going to go backwards a little bit, and this G46, I'm going to leave some little brush strokes, so like shadows under the trees. And then I'm going to graduate down on my markers. This kind of reminds me of a grove of pear trees like I had when I was little around our neighborhood, around our little town. Okay. And then I want to go back to my super light, so I'm actually going to go G21. Wherever it is, there it is. So I'm going to kind of brush in on top of these hills. And then I'm going to come in here. And this will kind of wash out those darker greens. So it sets the little grove of trees apart. So it just kind of makes them fade off so that it doesn't have like a definite beginning and a definite end. It just looks like a little forest hanging out there. This is a much softer green, not quite so bright with so much yellow. And also, since our focus is the Pegasus, and the Pegasus is up in the sky, we don't want all of this stuff down here to be like hyper-focused either. Sorry, Marianne, if you're watching. I hear the marker chirping. So just kind of blends all of this together like that. Okay, we're going to add some other stuff down here, so I'm not worried about that. What I am going to do now is I'm going to start, hey, Tyler, looks good. Now you're off to earn $1. You should earn more than $1. I'm just saying. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some mountains in the back to add like another layer to this, and then we'll do sky. So I'm going to start with my BV20. No, I mean, people are mailing cards from all over, so no, everyone hasn't given the cards yet. I assume that he's going to collect them through spring break and then take them over there after spring break. And I assume that there's going to be a couple of different, sets. And I want to go even lighter than this. What color do I want to use? Here we go. All right, so I have my BV quadruple 0 that I'm gonna do like the front side of the mountains with. And then this one's going to come up that way. There's going to be some here. This one's going to come down from here. And this one's going to come up. Yeah, just like that. Okay. No, not late at all. Not even a little. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my BV20. I'm going to start at the top here, and I'm just going to brush down some shadow. From the mountain, and I'm probably going to darken this up too. My nib's getting super juicy. That's okay. All right. I am going to darken that up. I need it to be just a little bit darker. So I think I'm going to use my BV34. Mom, when I told Evan that you had made a painting for her, his eyes got all big. For those of you who don't know, my son is doing a card drive for a friend in school. He has a Ukrainian exchange student, not in his class, but in his high school. And she was supposed to go home in December. Obviously, that didn't happen. So he is doing a card drive to get some cards, both like with words of encouragement for her. Her name is Jasmine. But also like blank ones if people don't want to write a message, so that she can send cards home to her friends and stuff. So she's having a pretty rough go of it. Obviously, her parents got out of the Ukraine and are in Turkey right now. I guess they previously lived in Turkey, so it was a little bit easier for them to get out. But a lot of her friends and stuff that, you know, she goes to school with and everything are stuck. So Evan decided to do a card drive to try to encourage her and help her out, which is really cool. And so he's looking for everybody to make cards to send to her. And so my mother, who is a very skilled artist, made a painting for her that is like blue in the background, and then it's sunflowers, because those are the Ukrainian flowers. And so I told you that to tell my mother this. Mom, I told Evan that you made a painting for her, and his eyes got all big, and he was like super happy about it. So I'm really excited to see his face when you give it to him. So I'm going to start blending this out with BV02. Making these mountains come to life. Or trying to, anyways. Okay, then I'm gonna go back to this, not that one, BB20. I know, he's a good kid. Very proud of him. We have parent-teacher conferences coming up tomorrow. So I'm excited to see how he's done this quarter. So I'll report back to you guys how that goes. It's weird to me that they do parent-teacher conferences for high school, but they totally do. And it's weird, they do it like round robin style. So you like walk around, all the teachers set up at their own table in, they have common area, it's called the Commons, but it's like an indoor quad. And so all the teachers set up in the Commons and they all just have a table, and then you walk around to each teacher's table and they talk to you about your kid. It's kind of odd, but also fairly efficient. Okay, now I'm going to take my colorless blender, wherever I put it, over here. And we're going to kind of wash these out a little bit so that they're not so defined. And that will make them look more like they're in the distance, more like they're mountains, and less like they're purple scribbles. Also, when we're done, I like to use my white gel pen and add snow caps to the mountains, so that will sell that even more. Okay, there's that. Now down here, I like to add like little hedges and stuff because I want to draw some kind of pink in. So I'm just gonna start by drawing these little dots. That kind of go along with the water line. So the reason I work back and forth is so that if I were to add blue to this right now, it would bleed into the mountains because it's all wet. So I work back and forth so that my markers don't bleed into one another. And I'm using the exact same greens that I used on the other side. The difference is on this one, since it's like bushes and hedges and stuff, is I'm going to add some little sweeps of pink. Like they have little flowers on them. And you can even add some purple if you want. There you go. Again, everything's supposed to be a little bit blurry because it's off in the distance. Our focus is the horse. So as you see, all of this stuff is kind of bringing this horse forward. And that's what we're looking for. Okay, now we're going to do the sky. So again, I'm going to start with a super duper light color. I think I'm going to start with my BG10. And it does not matter if this is kind of scratchy or whatever. We're just basically putting a primer down. Just try not to touch the bright colors that are in the mane and tail because they will bleed. Okay. Oh, cool, thanks. That's exactly what I was going for. Just making sure I color in around the horse. Keep saying horse, but it's a Pegasus. Whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have all that. And like I said, it doesn't matter if it's scratchy because we're going to go over it a bunch. And I'm going to go back to using some of the blues that I used before. So B45. Am I even on the screen? Sorry. And I'm just using these brush strokes back and forth. And I like to kind of curve it in at the bottoms just because I like to create kind of a vignette for my pictures. So it kind of looks like you're peeking in on this little horse or Pegasus. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with that today. Apparently, I need more coffee. Apparently, it's a thing. B21. And you can color this as much as you want. I mean, if you want to come across it like this with your chisel nib, you certainly can. As you see, I just did. I usually like to do layers, so I use the brush nib and I do it a couple of times. But by all means, I mean, if you're bored with coloring that, you can definitely do it that way too. Okay. Now I have my 4-1. It just adds slightly less texture to the sky when you do it this way. Because you can see with the brush nib how much more texture I have there. So I'm still going to come in with my brush nib on the bottoms here. I love doing these backgrounds because it always feels like just a little piece of art you know, when you're finished with it, you have like this full-on, almost like photograph. Oops, earthquake. Hey, Marlene. I didn't see you sneak in here. You have this like full-on, you know, picture. And if you put it on a card, great, but you know, you can frame it, you can, I don't know, put it in your scrapbook, you can do so many different things with it. So I really like having these fun things hanging out. Some of them hang out on my desk for quite some time. I can show you a couple more of them that I have hanging out. So we just want to blend where those blues come together. And there's a couple more finishing touches we're going to add, and then we're going to be done, done, done. How fun is that? I love mixing this blue-green into the sky. I think it's so pretty. And it kind of looks like the sun's rising behind her. Okay, so again to my colorless blender, and I'm going to add a couple of little clouds here. So I'm just going to kind of brush the clouds in until they're the shape that I like them. And you can make these big puffy clouds, you can make them little clouds, you can get all technical with them, make them like cumulus nimbus clouds, whatever you want to do. But the point is to brush the color out of the area where your cloud is. And you can see it slowly starts to form. And it has this cool like haze around it. Very, very cool technique. Tyler loves this technique. It does use quite a bit of ink out of your colorless blender, so make sure you have ink on the standby for your colorless blender, but I think it's really worth it. See how cool is that? So cool. It does. It's so easy to do, and it just adds so much to your picture. I'm actually going to add another little. I just love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, so now we're going to pull out our two favorite pens. We have our Pear Blossom Press white gel pen, and we have our Jelly Roll Stardust glitter pen. Okay, so I'm going to start with my white gel pen, and I'm going to add some highlights. To the little pony where the sun would be hitting the brightest. And I just noticed that I got green Oh my gosh, that would have been bad. That I got green on his leg. So I'm going to take care of that. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to switch back and forth between the gel pen and the glitter pen. So glitter on the hooves, of course, is a must. Nice sparkly hooves. I'm going to do glitter in the wings. This is going to add a lot of texture to the wings. I touch where I put the glitter with my finger, just so that it's not like such a stark straight line. You have to do that fairly quickly, but it leaves the glitter and breaks up the line. So you can see I do it in sections. I'm going to not forget this wing this time. There we go. So nice and glittery. I guess I should zoom out so you can see the whole thing. Sorry for the earthquake. Okay. Then I'm going to add some white lines to my clouds, just to kind of bump them up a notch. Just following the shape of the clouds. So it adds a little bit to it. Then I'm going to come into my mountaintops here, and I'm going to add some snow. And these lines I am going to leave because I want it to have that texture. So it really looks like the snow's coming down that side of the mountain. Good thing my husband remembered to put the trash out. Because I did not. And the trash can, or the trash can's here. The trash man's here. Hi, bestie. I'm following up your dark horse with my lighter version, just so people could see two different ways to use the Pegasus. Okay, so adding snow to those mountains really helps make it look like it is a thing. I also will come in here and in the light parts of the water, add a few brush strokes of white so it looks like the water is flowing. Okay, and I think I want to double the glitter on this, so I want to come up again and do a second coat of glitter now that the first coat is dry. Because who doesn't want more glitter? All right. All right, guys. So there it is. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Bestie. There is our little scene. We have a little forest. We have some bushes with some flowers or berries or whatever on them. We have some hills. We have some mountains. We have sky with big puffy clouds. And of course, we have our big Pegasus right here in front. I just love it. So I just wanted to show you guys, a couple of other scenes. You can see some similarities and stuff. But drawing these little scenes is just, it's so much fun to do. And it really takes your stamp to the next level. And yes, I just have all of these hanging out on my desk. I even have multiples of the same ones sometimes. So just cute little scenes that take your stamps to the next level, and they look like little vignettes into people's lives or whatever, little pictures. And so don't be afraid to try backgrounds. They are super duper fun. Yeah. They're super fun, and really there's not a lot to them. There's time involved, but you saw there wasn't a lot of like drawing or artistry or anything to them. It is just a matter of putting ink on paper. So thank you for joining me. Don't forget to join Sandy tonight at 10 p.m. Central Time, and she will be doing her live. And don't forget, if you are watching the replay of this on YouTube, to please hit the like button, the thumbs up button, and please subscribe to us. And if you want to leave a comment, that would be amazing too. So thank you. Great coloring for our Monday, right? I need coffee. That's what I really need. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. Toodles!